The Dragon Shark 100 forms ranked 35th among the 99 supreme Dharmakayas of the Great Thousand Worlds. Over a decade ago, in the central region of the Relic Continent, one of the 4 mystic spirit sovereigns, a member of the 12 elders of the ancient royal court, obtained a cultivation method for this supreme Dharmakaya. To acquire this 35th-ranked supreme Dharmakaya, he even killed a newly ascended Earth Supreme. Afterward, he returned to the ancient royal court and began cultivating the Dragon Shark 100 forms. After nearly 2 years of study and training, the 4 mystic spirit sovereigns successfully condensed a single Dragon Shark true body. However, to his dismay, its strength only reached that of a pseudo-Earth Supreme, despite his own cultivation being at the peak of the early stage of Earth Supreme. Initially, the 4 mystic spirit sovereign was deeply disappointed. Such a weak Dharmakaya, despite being listed among the 99 supreme Dharmakayas? Could this even be called a supreme Dharmakaya? It seemed to weaken rather than enhance his abilities. However, he also understood that something ranked in the top 40 of the 99 supreme Dharmakayas could not be simple. Encouraged by this thought, he resumed his research on the Dragon Shark 100 forms. 10 years ago, during an unexpected breakthrough, he discovered its astonishing potential. By chance, he condensed a second Dragon Shark true body. The ability to manifest 2 supreme Dharmakayas shocked him. Upon careful reflection, he finally grasped the essence of the name Dragon Shark 100 forms. The true power of the Dragon Shark 100 forms lay not in creating a single Dharmakaya but in the ability to condense multiple identical Dragon Shark true bodies. These bodies would operate in perfect synchronization, resulting in incredible combat strength. The deeper one's understanding of the technique, the more Dragon Shark true bodies could be formed. The foundational level of mastery allowed the creation of 1 body. The greater mastery enabled 10, and at the pinnacle, a practitioner could form up to 99 Dragon Shark true bodies. With his strength, a single Dragon Shark true body could rival a half-step Earth Supreme. 10 could contend with an ordinary Earth Supreme, and 99 would enable him to challenge a mid-stage Earth Supreme. However, the difficulty of cultivating the Dragon Shark 100 forms was immense. Even now, the 4 mystic spirit sovereign could only form 66 bodies. Yet, this achievement already made him one of the strongest below the mid-stage Earth Supreme. In the sea of spiritual energy, Xiao and a red-haired elder faced off. This elder was none other than the 4 mystic spirit sovereign, one of the 12 elders of the ancient royal court. Dragon Shark 100 forms, Xiao murmured softly. Judging from the situation, the 4 mystic spirit sovereign intended to trap him in this perilous location. Over 60 Dragon Shark true bodies darted around at high speed in the hazy sea of spiritual energy, making them nearly impossible to track with the naked eye. I may not have heard of the supreme Dharmakaya you've cultivated, but its strength doesn't seem inferior to my Dragon Shark 100 forms. Dissolving it so recklessly is unwise, the 4 mystic spirit sovereign remarked, puzzled by Xiao decision to disband his Emperor Flame body. Perhaps you have your reasons, but let me tell you. As his voice trailed off, the sovereign's eyes narrowed sharply. Behind Xiao within the dark red sea, 4 figures burst forth, their crimson claws tearing through space as they lunged at Xiao. It's futile. Boom. The 4 claws, each powerful enough to severely injure a peak 9th grade supreme, hurtled toward Xiao. In response, a flicker of dark light emanated from Xiao hand as a massive black ruler appeared. The weapon bore a striking resemblance to the heavy Xian ruler gifted to him by his master, Yao Chun, though it was slightly different. Gripping the black ruler tightly, Xiao swung it toward the incoming Dragon Shark true bodies. Their claws clashed with the black ruler. Clang, clang, clang. The sharp metallic sound reverberated through the sea of spiritual energy as intense flames erupted from the point of impact. Though Xiao managed to repel the 4 Dragon Shark true bodies with the black ruler, it came at a price. Cracks began to spread visibly across the ruler in Xiao hand. Looks like the heavy, profound ruler my teacher gave me still needs improvement. Xiao murmured as he stared at the shattered black ruler in his hand. This new heavy, profound ruler was forged after the Battle of the 2 Emperors using the most durable material on the continent of Doqi. Its sturdiness surpassed that of the previous heavy, profound ruler by 100-fold. Yet, even such a resilient weapon shattered under a single strike from the dragon shark true body. It seems I need materials capable of withstanding the power of Earth Supreme, or even Heavenly Supreme. Such materials can only be found in the Great Thousand Worlds. Once obtained, I can forge a new heavy, profound ruler, one so formidable it could participate in battles between supreme powerhouses. Whoosh! As the ruler broke apart, Xiaoyan's figure vanished. In the next moment, a dull thud resounded. One of the 4 dragon shark true bodies, which had been pushed back, exploded into countless fragments of spiritual energy, scattering into the void. In its place stood Xiaoyan, his expression cold and indifferent. Seeing Xiaoyan destroy a dragon shark true body, the 4 mystic spirit sovereign narrowed his eyes slightly. Clearly, Xiaoyan's strength was far from ordinary. Under his control, the remaining 3 dragon shark true bodies retreated into the depths of the spiritual energy sea, vanishing from sight. So, dispersing the supreme Dharmakaya was to gain greater speed, the 4 mystic spirit sovereign muttered. Unfortunately for you, it's useless. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As his words fell, piercing sounds echoed across the crimson sea of spiritual energy. Dozens of figures emerged, their overwhelming spiritual energy waves rippling outward. The dragon shark true bodies, now numbering in the dozens, moved in perfect unison, forming a tight encirclement that left Xiaoyan with no escape routes. Boom, boom, boom. Ferocious dragon claws, each capable of tearing apart 9th-grade supreme powerhouses, relentlessly attacked Xiaoyan. His eyes focused as he countered with powerful punches and kicks, generating fierce winds. The intense clash turned the sea of spiritual energy into a chaotic storm, and Xiaoyan gradually found himself on the defensive. He contemplated summoning his fire spirits, but quickly realized only a few could contend with the strength of 9th-grade supremes. The rest would be ineffective against these dragon shark true bodies. Moreover, he was acutely aware that the 4 mystic spirit sovereigns still had over 30 dragon shark true bodies waiting to strike. If they joined the fray, the situation would worsen. Rumble. The crimson sea of spiritual energy roiled violently from the ongoing battle. In the surrounding mountain ranges, countless onlookers watched in awe. Though the red light obscured their view of the battle, the terrifying spiritual energy waves emanating from the sea were enough to strike fear into their hearts. Boom. In the depths of the spiritual energy sea, Xiaoyan's punch pierced through the head of one dragon shark true body, followed by a kick that incapacitated another. However, the impeccable coordination of these entities forced him back into a defensive position after just a few minutes of engagement. So troublesome. Xiaoyan muttered as he pushed his spiritual energy to its limit. Despite the suppressive effect of the spiritual energy sea, he prepared to unleash his full strength. Boom! A dazzling flame erupted, creating a massive vacuum sphere thousands of meters wide within the spiritual energy sea. The surrounding dragon shark true bodies were forcibly repelled. However, the immense pressure exerted by the sea caused the fiery vacuum sphere to shrink visibly. As the sphere contracted, the scattered dragon shark true bodies regrouped and launched another fierce assault from all directions. Heh, don't blame me, the 4 mystic spirit sovereign chuckled. Since I've accepted Jigu's offer, I must fulfill his request. So, it's time for you to fall. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Dozens more figures shot out from the Crimson Sea. These were the remaining dragon shark true bodies, 66 in total. With 5 already destroyed, 61 remained. Together, they formed an impenetrable encirclement. Even a mid-stage Earth Supreme would struggle to escape, let alone Xiaoyan, who had only recently stepped into the Earth Supreme level. It seems you are quite confident in defeating me. Xiaoyan sneered coldly at the remark. His eyes swept over the 61 dragon shark true bodies charging toward him as his entire aura suddenly withdrew. Given up? Smart move. Seeing Xiaoyan retract his aura completely, the 4 mystic spirit sovereign chuckled. However, a hint of doubt flickered in his gaze when he noticed 2 radiant flame sigils appearing in Xiaoyan's eyes, symbols born from the fusion of all heavenly flames he had previously condensed. Buzz. Under the watchful gaze of the four mystic spirit sovereign, Xiao Yan's eyes erupted in dazzling flames, enveloping his entire being in radiant light. At the same time, his hands began forming an unfamiliar seal at lightning speed. Are you preparing to use the Supreme Dharmakaya again? Seeing the unfamiliar seal Xiao Yan was forming, the four mystic spirit sovereigns spoke indifferently. Yet, the 61 dragon shark true bodies accelerated toward Xiao Yan. While he wasn't afraid of Xiao Yan deploying the Emperor Flame Body again, if Xiao Yan activated the Supreme Dharmakaya, defeating him would take considerably more time. The 61 dragon shark true bodies rapidly closed the distance, narrowing it to mere hundreds of feet. When they were less than 100 feet from Xiao Yan and the vacuum around him spanned only a few hundred feet, the seal in Xiao Yan's hands was completed. Boom! A terrifying energy erupted from Xiao Yan, momentarily freezing the entire sea of spiritual energy and causing even the four mystic spirit sovereigns' expression to shift. This energy was not spiritual energy. Rumble. Destructive flames filled every corner of Xiao Yan's being. His body gradually became enveloped in dazzling flames, or rather, he had become the flame itself. A powerful shout echoed forth from him, transforming the body into flame, the Emperor Flame Body. Destruction Fire Lotus. This technique was created decades ago by Xiao Yan by fusing multiple heavenly flames with destructive properties. Heavenly flames are extraordinary flames born from the accumulation of Do Qi across millennia on the continent of Do Qi. Each possesses unique attributes and inherently repels others, making their fusion nearly impossible. However, if successfully merged, their destructive power is immense. The Destruction Fire Lotus, born from such a fusion, was a technique that even Do Sheng-level experts feared. Around 20 years ago, Xiao Yan developed a new method based on the Destruction Fire Lotus by harmonizing himself with the fire spirit of the purifying Lotus Demon Flame. This resulted in the Destruction Fire Body, a technique where every punch and strike released the power of a Destruction Fire Lotus. The Destruction Fire Body functioned as a self-moving embodiment of the Destruction Fire Lotus. Both the Destruction Fire Body and the Emperor Flame Body were among Xiao Yan's 7 ultimate techniques. The former boasted speed, while the latter was superior in strength. After extensive research, Xiao Yan combined the two, creating a new combat technique, the Emperor Flame Body. Swish, swish, swish. Within the vast crimson sea of spiritual energy, over 60 figures tore through the liquid energy, closing in within 10 feet of Xiao Yan. Golden dragon claws capable of shattering the void sealed off every path of retreat. At this moment, Xiao Yan's entire body was ablaze, as though he had become flame incarnate. Boom! Countless overwhelming dragon claws struck Xiao Yan, who had deployed the Emperor Flame Body. The space around him shattered instantly, and his body exploded. However, the four mystic spirit sovereigns' expression changed drastically as he observed. Buzz. At the point of Xiao Yan's obliteration, a faint, radiant flame spark emerged, flickering like a star in the sky, or like an eye from the abyss, emitting an overwhelmingly terrifying energy. Return. Seeing the flame spark, the four mystic spirit sovereign rapidly adjusted his seal, attempting to recall all the dragon shark true bodies. But just as they began to retreat, the spark erupted in blinding light. Boom! A catastrophic explosion, capable of gravely injuring someone as powerful as Zhigu, tore through thousands of feet of liquid spiritual energy. 6 dragon shark true bodies closest to the explosion were immediately destroyed, their connection to the 4 mystic spirit sovereign severed. They melted in the radiant flames that consumed even space itself. However, 55 of the dragon shark true bodies managed to escape. The 4 mystic spirit sovereign breathed a sigh of relief. If he hadn't withdrawn the dragon shark true bodies in time, at least 20 of them would have been annihilated in the explosion. While he could reform the destroyed bodies later, he understood clearly that the remaining numbers wouldn't suffice to subdue Xiao Yan. Shua. Just as numerous dragon shark true bodies were fleeing in all directions, a scarlet figure flashed through the dark crimson sea of spiritual energy at an astonishing speed. It was so fast that it could traverse 10,000 feet in the blink of an eye within the spiritual energy ocean. The four mystic spirits sovereign immediately noticed the rapidly approaching figure, but before he could react, the dazzling and colorful figure streaked past three nearby dragon shark true bodies who were attempting to escape. The speed was so overwhelming that the dragon shark true bodies had no time to mount any defense. As the brilliant figure passed the three dragon shark true bodies, a blazing, radiant fist struck them. While the fiery punch didn't immediately obliterate the dragon shark true bodies, terrifying waves of energy began to surge from within them. Boom! Under the horrified gaze of the four mystic spirit sovereign, the three dragon shark true bodies expanded rapidly and then exploded violently from within. They were instantly torn apart into basic spiritual energy particles. Shwa! The destruction of the three dragon shark true bodies occurred in an instant. Before the four mystic spirit sovereign could fully comprehend what had happened, the dazzling figure had already vanished. Bang! 1,000 feet away, with another muffled sound, yet another dragon shark true body was shattered. Then, across a space spanning several thousand feet, explosions continued to erupt. In less than 3 seconds, 7 dragon shark true bodies had already been destroyed. Boom! 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 In the dark crimson sea of spiritual energy, terrifying explosions erupted continuously. Within 10 breaths of time, 19 dragon shark true bodies had been obliterated. The speed of their destruction far outstripped their ability to scatter and escape. Damn it! Come out! The four mystic spirit sovereign roared in fury, his gaze scanning the sea of spiritual energy. As he forced himself to calm down, he unleashed his divine soul power, blanketing the entire sea. Finally, he caught sight of the dazzling figure. It was a figure enveloped in radiant flames, the very same Xiao who had seemingly been destroyed earlier by the combined attack of over 60 dragon shark true bodies. The four mystic spirit sovereign's eyes trembled as he realized that the Emperor Flame body that had been annihilated earlier was merely a remnant shadow. But when had Xiao escaped from the encirclement of the dragon shark true bodies? Boom! As Xiao, now in his Emperor Flame body form, destroyed the 20th dragon shark true body, he once again locked onto another fleeing target 1,000 feet away. With a flash, his fiery fist landed squarely on the chest of the dragon shark true body. Like the others, it was torn apart by the overwhelming flame energy Xiao had imbued into it. The Emperor Flame body was a newly devised combat technique that combined the speed of the destruction flame body and the power of the Flame Emperor's body. A single punch carried the destructive force of a 26-colored fire lotus, enough to seriously injure even a mid-stage Earth Supreme like Xigu. Xiao speed, in this form, had reached its peak. Shwa! Shwa! Xiao figure streaked through 2 more dragon shark true bodies, reducing them to ashes. Just as he prepared to attack another, a burst of radiance erupted behind him. A furious figure appeared. It was the four mystic spirit sovereign. In just over 10 breaths of time, Xiao had destroyed more than a third of the 61 dragon shark true bodies. Each one had taken the four mystic spirit sovereign at least a week to condense, and recovering the 20-plus destroyed forms would take no less than half a year. Xiao actions had driven the four mystic spirit sovereign into a rage. Seeing the furious four mystic spirit sovereign approach, Xiao smirked coldly and unleashed a destruction flame punch toward him. At the same time, the four mystic spirit sovereign activated all his power. Four mystic divine seal. A loud cry echoed from the four mystic spirit sovereign as the four mystic divine flames, which he had previously restrained within his body, erupted outward. They coalesced into a 100-foot-wide mystic flame seal in front of him, brimming with devastating destructive power. With a palm strike, the four mystic divine seal collided head-on with Xiao Emperor Flame body punch. Boom! Their full-powered clash tore open a massive rift nearly 10,000 feet wide in the sea of spiritual energy, almost splitting it in two. Through the enormous rift, everyone in the surrounding heavens and earth could finally see Xiao and the four mystic spirit sovereign. In the distance, Xigu, who was tightly entangled by Xiao 9,000 purifying lotus avatars, was struck with a horrified expression upon witnessing this scene. The four mystic spirit sovereigns were incredibly powerful, nearly stepping into the mid-stage Earth Supreme level, a notch above his own strength. Xiao had initially believed that the four mystic spirit sovereigns would easily suppress Xiao and swiftly defeat him. Yet, the current reality was that the sovereigns had failed to gain the upper hand against Xiao in their battle. Elsewhere, in the battlefield where the Enyang Patriarch and others were fighting the Heavenly King Hall Master, the Hall Master's eyes narrowed slightly as he observed the scene unfolding in the sea of spiritual energy before him. He had not anticipated that Xiao, a young man who had only recently ascended to the rank of Earth Supreme, could hold his own against a formidable opponent like the four mystic spirit sovereigns, who were on the verge of reaching the mid-stage Earth Supreme. This young man was truly extraordinary. The Enyang Patriarch, on the other hand, burst into delighted laughter. It seems the Heavenly King Hall Master has chosen the wrong side. It's a bit early to say that, the Hall Master replied calmly. That boy's flame body is indeed formidable, and it seems Xiao's ally might not be able to handle him for now. But the question remains, how long can that flame body last? The Enyang Patriarch frowned slightly at these words. Perhaps the Hall Master was correct. Xiao Emperor flame body might not sustain prolonged combat. Boom. At that moment, a muffled sound echoed in the distance, followed by a figure hurtling through the sky in a disheveled state. The sight caused the Hall Master to furrow his brow, for the injured figure was none other than the third elder of Xinling Hall. The third elder crashed into a towering mountain, triggering a thunderous roar. It was evident to everyone present that the elder would not be able to get back up. Swoosh! As the heavily injured third elder lay incapacitated, another figure swiftly pierced through the sky. It was Lien Yun. She had just defeated the third elder of Xinling Hall. In a flash, Lien Yun appeared beside the Enyang Patriarch and Wu Xian, her movements seamless and elegant. As expected of one of the two leaders of the Lotus King Manor, dispatching an 8th grade supreme with such precision and decisiveness, the Heavenly King Hall Master remarked with a faint smile as he descended onto a nearby mountain peak, gazing at the approaching Lien Yun. The way I see it, the defeat of Xinling Hall is inevitable.